This is Witch-Based News for Friday the 29th of August 2025. I'm Commander Burr. In Elite Dangerous news this week, ToCoSo's Radio7 show launches tomorrow, the Frontier Unlocked Livestreams are no more, and a new enigmatic mystery has started to unravel in the game. If you enjoy our videos, consider subscribing to the channel and remember to ping the little bell to make sure you see all our content and community posts. And if you'd like to help support our channel, links to our Patreon and everything else are in the description below. If you've ever played a Grand Theft Auto game, then you'll almost certainly be familiar with the hours of in-car radio stations that play whenever you perform the titular action in those games, and how entertaining they can be. Generally they're a mix of some solid quality music, sometimes with a slightly ironic or nostalgic tick to it, interspersed with a number of entertaining and very often funny melange of shock jocks, regular DJs and adverts. They add spice and atmosphere to the existing game, as well as a touch of real world, slightly off-kilter authenticity. How does this all relate to Elite Dangerous then, I hear you ask? Enter then one Commander ToCoSo. ToCoSo has already built himself a solid and well-deserved reputation within the Elite Dangerous community as a musician, entertainer and content creator around the game over its long history. Not content however with consistently cranking out one solid Elite Dangerous themed hit after another and flexing his considerable talent, taste and range, ToCoSo has been squirreled away for many a long month now, preparing his latest mega project for your audio delectation, which brings me back to the Grand Theft Auto opener. Radio7 Attack of the Onion Heads is a staggering 4-hour Grand Theft Auto style radio show featuring just some of the collected works of ToCoSo, old and new, and it's designed to be played in the background as you play Elite Dangerous. It features guest voices and collaborations from across the community that you'll almost certainly recognise, and I can attest, having had the privilege of listening to it in its entirety already, that it is smartly written, beautifully recorded and produced, and absolutely hilarious to boot. The entire album sits as a sequel of sorts to ToCoSo's original Radio7 album, which was itself the same concept and, at the time, somewhat of a grand opus, but the second instalment of the genius concept is so much more. Amongst the collaborators on the project are the lovely team from Elite Dangereuse, meaning that there is an in-game adventure quest that you can follow through with as you listen, essentially becoming an active participant in the radio show and its story, and ToCoSo has fully utilised the power and customisation options that Trailblazers brings to the game to complement what the album and the adjacent adventure both bring. And again, in case you missed it, this is all 4 hours long. It's a frankly astonishing piece of work. The album, Radio7 Attack of the Onion Heads, will be released tomorrow as I speak these words on the 30th of August at midday UK time, alongside the adventure on Elite Dangereuse. And it will be completely free to stream. If however you donate to the album's production via Bandcamp, you can also download not only the full album but also a 182 page accompanying partner booklet to complement the piece as well. You'll find links to everything ToCoSo, including his Bandcamp page for the release tomorrow and his Patreon if you want to further support his work, in the description below this video. I'm not kidding when I say it's absolutely stunning. The work that has gone into this is just breathtaking. What follows is just a small example of one track from the album. This is These Distant Worlds, featuring the gorgeous vocal talents of Helly.
This distant world keeps changing. I find myself just waiting. I need those hollow squares around me.
I have to admit, this is something I didn't think I'd be reporting on today. If you were expecting to see the regular Frontier Unlocked livestream this week and didn't see the associated announcement about it, then you're likely disappointed and confused. Similarly, if you were expecting to hear a breakdown today from us, then you're going to be just as disappointed. Just 5 hours before the regular monthly update on all the games that Frontier has in its current stable, including Elite Dangerous, was due to go live on Wednesday, Frontier posted to Twitter, Facebook and the official Frontier Unlocked Discord server that not only would there be no live stream this month, but that they are cancelling all of them going forward. Instead, the official word from Frontier stated that they are, quote, going to be delivering news to you in a less time restricted way, unquote. The message goes on to say, quote, you'll still get your regular cadence of Elite information, including behind the scenes information, reveals, concept art and more, end quote, further adding, make sure you stay tuned to the Elite Dangerous YouTube channel next week for a deeper look at the recently revealed Type 11 Prospector from Lakon. There's every reason to believe from the message that the actual amount of information FDEV will be releasing will be maintained, and that it's just the live on-camera engagement portion of their communication that they'd rather suddenly decided to do away with. The Elite Dangerous portion of the live streams usually contains a lot of pre-recorded interviews or trailer footage anyway, and a solid argument could be made, certainly at a corporate level, that this stuff serves the company just as well if delivered passively on a YouTube feed as it does on a live stream. It's almost certainly cheaper and easier as well at face value to produce those same videos on the same cadence that it is to fill out a studio with people for a couple of hours after their regular working day has finished, and that's on top of all the unseen prep that a stream of that nature requires. As is the want of online communities, there were comments proclaiming that this move was direct evidence that FDEV has clearly decided to sunset the game. Suffice to say, that's rather short-sighted, as the announcement also affects all of FDEV's other titles who are also losing their monthly livestream top-up. Having made no other comment regarding the issue on their forums, FDEV's Paul Crowther did respond to that one, saying simply, "We haven't." I do suspect another benefit for Frontier is that, without the stream, viewers who are not there for Elite Dangerous will no longer be subjected to the taunts and jibes from a small but vocal minority of the game's dedicated audience each month, and this, of course, has to be better for the wider audience and Frontier alike. It's a shame in taking this decision, however, that the chance of some cross-pollination of FDEV's customers onto other FDEV titles is lost. We do know of some folks who have picked up Jurassics and Coasters etc. as a result of seeing them on the live stream, but I suspect if that cross-pollination happened frequently enough to make a real difference, then the streams would have continued. Direct online engagement and more passive communication with the delivery of new features and news for the Elite Dangerous player base is something that Frontier have always historically struggled with, and whilst things have absolutely improved over the years, particularly in the realm of passive info drops, it's something they've never truly embraced at a corporate level. As a viewer, whilst I don't necessarily agree with the decision to withdraw from live streams entirely, I do understand why they might have chosen to do it. To do truly meaningful live stream engagement well takes significant time and effort, ideally from a dedicated team, and that costs money. It's something that companies like Blizzard or Digital Extremes do extremely well, and they undoubtedly see the benefits from it as a result. But asking for that kind of commitment and investment for a difficult to play 10-plus-year-old space game is not something that easily shows up in a positive light on a spreadsheet, and therefore won't translate well into a green light from a boardroom. If FDEV are going to transition to YouTube and social media delivered info drops entirely, something that has worked out very well for Hello Games on No Man's Sky for example, then what is key is the rhythm of those info drops. If they continue on a monthly cadence at the minimum, or indeed increase, then I suspect the difference for the vast majority of players will be negligible. If that cadence drops, however, then that's a very different proposition, and I'd hate to see FDEV lose all the goodwill and momentum it has made up in the last 2 to 3 years. On Thursday morning this week UK time, the game servers went offline for their regular weekly cleanup and reboot. As I mentioned, this is a regular thing and it's no big deal. So far so normal. However, when the servers went down, Frontier tweeted that the servers would be down for an extended period. This isn't completely out of the ordinary, particularly in a post-colonisation game where potentially thousands of new colonies are being brought online, or the BGS beast is being wrestled to the ground and beaten into submission. It happens occasionally. What is unusual, however, is what happened next. When the servers came back at approximately 11:19 AM UK time, the Frontier Elite Dangerous account again tweeted, not to say that the servers had come back, but instead with something altogether more cryptic. The tweet contained a 7-second clip of in-game video showing one of the game's regular communication beacons of the type that can be found all over populated space in the galaxy. It was in a system with a regular in appearance yellow and orange star, and in the background could be seen the greater and smaller Magellanic Clouds, two dwarf galaxies that are nearby neighbours to our own galaxy and a common sight in the Elite Dangerous backdrop. There were no other clues in the tweet, only the words, quote, "a secret to be uncovered, a trail to be followed," end quote. And that's it. With hundreds of billions of stars in the Elite Dangerous galaxy, it's not much to go on. After 10 years, however, Frontier know their audience. Within seconds the hunt was on to find the beacon and uncover whatever secrets it might hold. If you're reasonably new to Elite Dangerous, then just let me fill in some blanks for you. The community around Elite has previous form in this direction, and Frontier now play to that form on a semi-regular basis. In years gone by, players have identified the location of entire Guardian alien structures glimpsed in video trailers produced by the company just by looking at the objects in the sky in those trailers and extrapolating the likely position in the galaxy where a deliberate search may yield positive results. Within about 2.5 hours, players mostly working out of the Canon Discord had managed to identify the system and track down the beacon. Again, there are roughly 400 billion stars in the Elite Dangerous galaxy. The player base was working from a 7-second clip of video showing a starry backdrop and a couple of wider galactic objects that are visible from just about everywhere. Whilst it's very likely that the target is in the southern half of the galaxy and likely in the very rough area of the bubble, that's still pretty damned impressive work for 2.5 hours. Scanning the beacon uploads a partially garbled message fragment into your ship's inbox. That message can be seen on screen now. Despite now being well over 24 hours of all sorts of decoding attempts by multiple individuals across the community, but again there's a significant effort happening out of the Canon Discord, nothing more, as at the time of recording at least, has been deciphered. Of all the words that can be easily read, perhaps the most significant is just one, and that is the word Alex. Aside from being a name, we could be seeing a word fragment. Alexandria, for example, was the name of an Aegis megaship destroyed by the Thargoids in the run up to their invasion of the bubble a couple of years ago. Interestingly, none of the other decipherable words in the message are themselves fragments, they are whole words, which certainly lends more weight to the argument that Alex isn't a fragment but is then the name Alex. So who is Alex? It could of course be a new character that has not yet crossed our paths, but of all the names in the Elite Dangerous universe, that of Alex is one of the most significant, and if you don't know this already, then I'd advise you to strap yourself in. Commander Jason Ryder was a senior member of the secret organisation known as the Dark Wheel. In the novella that shipped with the original Elite game in the 80s, Jason was killed during his search for the legendary planet known as Raxxla and was avenged by his son. Jason's son was called Alex Ryder. As of my speaking these words, no more has yet been discovered or deciphered as a result of finding the beacon. As things stand, it feels like this particular paper chase is waiting for another clue to drop in the game. Community manager Phil W from Frontier responded to someone asking for more hints in the Frontier Unlocked Discord by saying, "You're good for now," which would seem to back that up. Regardless, the search for more information continues. Just what the beacon is leading us to is, obviously, a complete unknown. I'm not saying this is definitely the start of a trail leading to Raxxla, but dropping the name Alex into the middle of a new mystery message would seem an odd choice by Frontier if it isn't somehow linked. There is no bigger mystery in the Elite universe than that of Raxxla. It's been part of the Elite canon since its inception in 1984, and if this is the start of a trail that leads to Raxxla, it would be the single biggest event the game has ever seen. If and when we learn any more about this story, we will of course let you know right here. How do you feel about the loss of the FDEV live streams? Will you be following the story and adventure of ToCoSo's Radio 7? And do you think Frontier have started us on the road that leads to Raxxla? Let us know in the comments below. That's it for now. Thanks very much for watching. We'll be back later this week with more videos. Until then, O7 commanders, follow the greens on the way out and do keep clear of the toast rack. We very much look forward to seeing you next time.